What's up, everyone, and welcome to the 17th episode of the Naus cEDH podcast, the Chaos Recap. My name is Kian, otherwise known as Varlas, and joining me, as always, is Adam, better known as Poppyphobia.
What's up, everybody?
Also joining us today is Kevin, better known as Tashu.
Cha.
But before we get started, Adam, I think we have a few triggers to resolve in our upkeep.
Yeah, absolutely. So, to start with, we're going to shout out all of our high-tier patrons. Thank you to Doot, Usable Object, Senator Tom, Cold Ramen, and Domino. The support from everybody's been amazing, and it helps us to continue making these amazing episodes. Also, don't forget to smash that like button or hit subscribe. And for those of you listening on a podcast platform like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure you leave us a review and a rating, as it helps us to continue to reach new audiences. And to move into our main phase, for this week's episode, we're doing a Ka0s cEDH Webcam Tournament recap. Everyone here at Naus sponsored and hosted the event, and it was an absolute blast. So we'll be recapping what went on in the tournament. Kian and I casted the whole thing, so we're going to share our thoughts coming from a spectator's point of view, while Kevin here was actually a participant in the tournament, so he'll share his thoughts regarding these topics from a player's point of view. And I think with that, we'll get started right into it. So, Ka0s was an absolute success, at least on our end of things. And to highlight that, we want to do a quick recap of the overall event. So we had 200 people initially sign up for the tournament, with 165 players actually showing up. The tournament was 4 75-minute rounds of Swiss, with a cut to top 16, then a cut to the final 4, resulting in one winner overall. I think everybody that participated had like a really fun time, and it was a really great time to be a part of the community overall. So to start this episode, I think we want to dive into Kevin's experience, because Kevin, you were the only one of us on the team that was actually able to play in the tournament besides David, and just kind of let us know what it felt like as a player.
I mean, it felt good, you know. I've been to a couple of GPs before. I've done some various semi-large tournaments, not never for EDH, but, you know, I think it was well organized. It was fun. I got to meet a lot of the sort of big names you see on the, you know, the DDB and all that shit. Like, you hear about these people, and, like, I don't know about you guys. Like, you guys get to interact with them more than I do, because I'm not as big into the community, but it was fun just sort of sitting in Discord, hearing these people shitpost and just fucking do dumb emoji spam, and then play games with them, you know? It was fun to sort of get out there and forced to play with people that aren't running the same fucking generic 4-color blue farm at our goddamn store like we do every week, you know. So I think it was a really cool tournament. I enjoyed it. It was fun meeting people. I think the rounds were my one little thing I don't like 75 minutes. I think it's a tad bit short. It was run very well, and I think that helped cut down on the time, but could have won another game, bro. Could have won another game.
What were some things, or like how were you nervous going in, or like what were some things that you like wanted to like either practice beforehand or like touch on prior to the tournament, like mindset,
I can't even
play style?
Dude, the fact when you sent me that message in our thing that was like, oh, by the way, you guys are the feature match, I was like, Kier, what the fuck? I'm already nervous. I had to go first on camera, and I had the nuts.
You had a good start though. It was good.
It was disgusting.
Yeah,
it was unfucking fair.
Yeah, it was unfortunate kind of how your first game went because of like the stacks players in the pod and everything like that. But it was a good showing. And like I think something that I'll say is like 75-minute rounds is actually starting to become the standard for a lot of tournaments, which is interesting because I think people do appreciate more time. But what a lot of tournament organizers have decided is that they would prefer to have more rounds than more time in the rounds. So, like, if they can squeeze in 5 rounds to a tournament at 75 minutes, that's better than 4 90-minute rounds. So, like, when you're trying to squeeze a lot of stuff into a day or 2 days, it's kind of hard. And I think that's, like, a sacrifice you have to make. I think especially, like, not having turns, like, something that we'll get into later, like, when we get into, like, the top 16 and stuff, is, like, the rounds of Swiss went by like a breeze. Mm-hmm. And then the top 16 and the top 4 took almost as long as the 4 rounds of Swiss, and it was 2 games.
Literally.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
like,
I remember watching it. It was long.
Yeah, and that's just what happens when there's like no time, no no time in round, no structure to it. It's like unlimited, and like that's why like they eliminated turns for the tournament too, because like once you get into turns, people start taking 40-minute turns.
Because like there's
okay,
no
bro,
like.
what are we...
In 2 of my games, I was turbo Thrasiosing. I was like, okay, tap for 9 mana, and I was like, just trying to get through my friggin' bullshit mana. And like, I think that was the thing Kian asked, like, what would I prepare for better? I think the thing I would prepare for better is to not play like I do in my store. You know, like when I play with you guys, I can sit there and just be like, white, blue, black, blue. Oh, I gotta restart. Green, white, and like I would sit there and fucking plan my pips, and that shit would waste 5 fucking minutes. You don't got time for that. You got to think about that before your turn starts. And like obviously that's how you play Magic anyways. But like I can't sit there and ponder over whether or not I want to keep some fucking so-so counterspell with Thrasios, or like, do I really want to swing this into? Do I keep Timn as a blocker? Like I needed to have known that before I went into my turn. And like
it's a huge adjustment that you have to make like in real time, where it's like when you're playing with your friends, like it's especially hard for me because I like to lag a lot when I play. So like I'll sit there and I'll be like thinking about decision. I'll be like, what is the optimal play, and what do I have to do? When you're in a tournament, it's like make your game action. Like what are you doing? Because you need to do it right now. And it's like, oh shit, like that's like such a hard adjustment to make, and it really can really affect your nerves, right? In a tournament, like you if you get caught taking too long, it kind of feels like a lot of pressure. I don't know if you felt that at all while you were playing.
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely times where, like, I mean, my second game was a mess because, like, I could tell time was coming up, and I was like, I don't think we're going to get to another round. I was like, I'm going to blow my load and see, and I didn't even fucking count to see whether I could win, you know? I just went for it, and it was not the right play. So, like, I think time management was... Go on.
And, no, finish up, and then I'll say something about time management.
Oh. Yeah, basically just time management was something that, like, I feel like I should practice outside of tournament settings so that I'm more comfortable with... Because that was by far the worst limitation. Like, I knew my deck. I fucking knew my matchups. I knew my lines. I just ran out of time. And in 2 of my 4 games, I think I could have gotten more wins if I had just either played faster or, like, policed other people not going as fast.
Yeah. And I feel like, from, like, my limited play on tournaments, I feel like this is, like, the cEDH tournaments, I feel, are, like, draw-based. So, like, in Swiss, since it's so short of rounds, you have to play to the draw. Like, if you get a loss in Swiss, but you get a draw, that's so much better. Like, a win is still good, yes, but, like you don't get enough time to actually, like, sit there and play. And then you also have to think about, like, politics, right? Politics is a huge part of cEDH in general. And you can't have a person sitting there like, oh, you should make this game action, and it takes, like, 15 minutes. Which you can't do in Swiss, but which we saw a lot of in the top 16 and in the top 4, was a whole lot of politicking. And I feel like, from, like, your point of view, Kevin, like, for, like, you never played in, like, a cEDH tournament or whatever, having, like, that time management to be like, okay, I gotta hurry up and make game actions can be kind of difficult. And, yeah.
Yeah, I think the politicking was very interesting because, like, I believe I did well in the games where I was a big voice, where I was telling people, like, oh, this guy's got a win in hand, like, we saw him tutor for the blah, and people, for some reason, listened to me. I fucking did Adam shit and, like, got people to make terrible plays because I was like, he showed us the win, he's got the win, he's a lab man on the board, and I knew he didn't have shit. He had 2 counterspells, and I was like, you should make him blow his counterspell so I can win, and then I did. Yeah, so, like, politicking is big, but I think you draw a good point. Like, is it worth 10 minutes of bickering? I don't know, honestly. Like, it's harder because, like, you're really taxed on your resources.
I think that... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's a problem when it comes to tournament play in general, is, like, politicking's so useful, but it comes to a point where it's too much, right? And like you said, you're bickering for 10 minutes. You might have just lost a whole turn cycle around the table over a discussion about a card. So sometimes you have to, like, sacrifice, like, this isn't the time to politic, right? And it's really hard to do. And, like, it's something that we kind of learned a little bit about as casting, because there was a lot of points in the game where you would be casting different players. And we're like, okay, this is a political player. All of a sudden something would get put on the stack, and it's takes 5 or 10 minutes out of the stream while people
no game actions would be made, and then we would have to be like, all right, what's going on? What's happening?
Because and you can really see in situations like that how it can affect the game. So it is a balance that you have to make, especially, like, if you don't have the nuts and you're trying to draw out the game to a point where you can eventually get a win. You can't politic the whole game because you're not going to get enough turns to draw the cards you need to attempt a win. So it is interesting to kind of see how that stuff plays out a lot.
Yeah.
Was there any other takeaways you had, Kevin, as a player? Like, was it just a good experience overall? How it was your first webcam tournament? What was that like?
I think the webcam aspect of it went fucking smooth. I mean, it went incredible. Like, I honestly, I think it was kind of better than in-person tournaments because the ability to like forcibly shut everyone else the fuck up and be like, here's the thing, it happens at 9:33. That's how long you have. Here's your Discord ping. Go. And like the bots just did everything. It was so nice. It was honestly so much better than real tournaments. And like I didn't even mind because like I still had to shuffle my cards and shit, so it felt like like real. It was good. I think the implementation of the tournament was great. As for playing, I think the meta was super mid range. Like everyone was playing like either just fucking win cons not deck or like I'm gonna draw 4 cards and then try to win. Like no one played complete YOLO strats, at least from what I saw. Obviously, I saw like there's the Nagila in the top 4, but like I did not see any turbo. And all the turbo I did see sucked. It did nothing. Stacks took too long. So I think a lot of people picked mid-range. They played mid-range. And then in a lot of my games, we all timed out because no one could actually close.
Yeah, I will say like my experience with past cast tournaments is I drew more games than I won and lost. You know what I mean? Like I ended up in cast 2 was like 3 games, I think was the Swiss. And I had no, it was 4, and it was a win, a loss, and 2 draws, and it was like, what the fuck? Like, how did you know what I mean? Like that's you like you said earlier, Kian, you're playing to the draw almost always, and it's definitely like a different mindset. You know, when you have 3 mid-range decks and a turbo deck, or 3 mid-range decks and a stacks deck at a table, like at a certain point, you are just playing for the draw because it's more points, and everybody's just drawing out the game as long as they can. So it definitely brings like a different vibe. And then also like being aware of your points and like tiebreakers, that's also like really important too. Like, I don't know if your finals pod was like that at all, Kevin, like your final pod of Swiss. Was it like where people were like trying to determine if someone can concede or like if someone has a chance at top 16, or was it?
Literally every single one of us had a chance at top 16, 100%. Like I think so. A win was 5 points, a draw was 1, and then losing you didn't get anything, obviously. I think we were all sitting at 6, and one guy was at 7, and a win would have been 5, which would have put us at 11 or 12. All 4 of us. I think I was. God, who was in my pod? It was. I'm forgetting right now, but there was some big name person was playing with us, and like I think he was the 7 points person. Like whoever won got there, right? And on our turn,
16.
I went for a win attempt. I had like 4 backups. I was ready. I just couldn't handle all the answers, so I passed. And then the next person went for a win. It didn't work. And then the last person went for a win. And then the 4th guy, who wasn't going to get to have a turn, was like, well, I have demonic consultation. I mean, I could go get a 0-mana counterspell. Should I use it? And we were like, unfortunately, as much as I'd love to see this guy get top 16, you should play to your outs. And he did, and he got the counter, and then we all just sat there and was like, cool, we got not enough points to get top 16, GG. Because
Not any of you guys made top 16 then?
Oh. All of us had the opportunity, but we just all tried to win, got stopped, and we're like, okay, time's up, and guess we all draw.
Yeah.
Dang.
That sucks.
Man, that sucks. At that point, I would have been like, nah, let them make top 16 so at least one of us makes it.
We discussed that, and I feel like that was questionable. So I was like, no, just go get the counterspell, just play the way you're supposed to. Bro, I was so close to winning. I was fucking right there. I was so close. I lost to a Beseiju.
Because like I've conceded games before, so someone had a better chance at top 16. Like if I like I had a situation at Pun City where someone had like just enough points where if they drew the game, they would be guaranteed for top 16. But if I won the game, I would have been 19th place because of my tiebreakers. So I was like, well, I don't care about getting a win that much. I'll just concede or I'll agree to a draw so that way you were guaranteed top 16. And everybody else had like no chance of making it. So they were like, yeah, we'll do that. Because like I'm like, what do I care if I get like a win, right? It's like at that end where that person's like, I could stop them, but then we all draw. I'd have just been like, nah, let them make top 6. Like, it doesn't matter that much. Right?
I don't know. I was torn because, like,
you're not
I
being a
feel
good
like-
guy, Kevin. You got to be a good guy. Come on.
I don't. Part of me was legitimately like, yeah, honestly, let's send this guy. He's a bigger name. Just fucking go for it. But then the part of me was like, man, I don't know. It kind of feels shitty that, like, just because of the way the timing went, like, you get to go and you didn't earn it. Like, it sucks, but I think we gotta play to our outs. Like, Adam, you're the guy who fucking talks about, like, oh, you should pact of negation on turn 2 because fuck them, right? This is a
Well,
tournament.
like I do
Big
agree with
fuck 'em.
playing. I do agree with playing with your outs, and especially in a tournament setting. But at a certain like if it's timing round and you're at the last person in the play order, and you have the ability to stop a person from winning the game, but it doesn't help your like at that point, it's not helping your win percentage, right? Because a draw doesn't help your win percentage because you're not making top 16. You're not moving on. So like. I would just be like, fuck it, you can move on. Like, what do I care, right? Like,
If they had done that for me, I would have done it for them.
yeah. So it's definitely it's a tournament etiquette gets into like a weird gray area, right? So
I think it gets into a weird, like, not like collusion, but it gets into a sort of weird. I mean, we did a Kingmaker thing, right? It's strange because you can choose. Like in our pod, it was literally we can just pick someone to go to top 16. And I didn't feel like it was right to do so, but that's a whole fucking episode in and of itself.
yeah, it also comes down to like moral questions too, because like there's been plenty of situations in a tournament where it's like, you have to be like, if I was in that position, how bad would I want to be in top 16, right? And then you put someone else in that position, and it's like that feels bad, where it's like, okay, this person's basically like saying, I'd rather you not make top 16 because I'm not making it regardless, but I'd rather you not make it either. Like, and that comes into a place where it's like, man, that would feel really shitty to be on the other end.
It's literally the pact negation example. It's like, I'm
It
going to
is,
stop
it
your
is.
win turn 2, and then I'm going to lose. But I stopped you. From
But it's not a
completing
loss, so you get a
victory.
draw. You get a draw, so it's better.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, it sounds like it's not. There's no spite. I was just like, listen, I did everything I could. I couldn't get there. You guys had everything you needed to stop me. I think we should show you the same courtesy. I feel like just giving someone a game. Nah, they didn't get there. You didn't earn top 16. Like, you got to fucking, your deck needs to be good enough to win, not good enough to draw.
Yeah, it's tough. And chaos, it's hard too, because like it feels like everybody's deck is fighting for a draw. Like even if your deck is built to win, it feels like a lot of the time you're fighting. Like we casted a lot of games where like the game ended and we were like, well, nothing happened. Another draw. You know what I mean? Like that's just how tournaments go in Commander when you have to put in time constraints. Like that's like the dirty truth about it. Is like a lot of games are going to end in draws, and that just is what it is.
Unfortunately, yeah. Honestly, I was really happy with the deck I picked, though, because, like, if I had taken stacks or even, like, you know, more combat-focused mid-range Nagula, like, I don't think I would have had a good time at all. The fucking board was so mucked up.
Najila is kind of a trap deck in tournaments. That's why, like, when we talk about the top 4, we'll talk about Zane's Najila deck. I like where they've kind of brought Najila, where it's like, hey, I'm going to go for, like, I'm going to basically play blue farm, but I'm also going to have Derevi in the 99. Like, that's basically what they did with Najila, because it's like a 2-card win condition, right? I like that Najila, because otherwise, like, combat Najila, like mid-range Najila, or whatever they call it, tempo Najila, or whatever the database list is called, in tournaments, I see it get trapped a lot, because tournaments are historically more mid-range. I think out of all the decks you had, like TNT or maybe Yasharn would have performed well, but other
I think
than
Piggy
that,
would have taken way too long to win, personally. But yeah, like I liked mid range, but I fell into I won't say trap, but I fell into the problem of like, okay, cool, I can draw 30 more cards than you, but you still have 4 counter spells. I can't win here. I have to draw 15 more cards. And then like by the time I had the resources, they said time and round.
yeah, you got to put Grand Abolisher in play, dude.
Tried.
Or
I
a
did it
Ranger
on
Captain.
game 3. I did.
There you go. So that seems like a good like recap of like the player end of things. I guess we can dive a little bit into Kian, you and I experience with the tournament. We were casting for most of it.
Yeah.
So why don't you? This was the first time that you've ever casted an event at all. I casted a few events now, but why don't you kind of dive into what that was like your first time casting cEDH, thrown into the fire. Not
Thrown
only was
into
it
the
your
fire.
first- yeah, not only your first time casting, but also we were stream managing. So
Yeah, no
Yeah.
prep whatsoever. You know, just hop in the fire. So I thought first of all, I thought it was a really good experience casting and like interacting with chat, especially. Like we had a lot of people. I know like Sequoia and some other members from our Discord and like some other people. Sakara, yeah. I know the chat was pretty active. Yeah, it was just great to interact. I think that like casting wasn't that hard if you just focused on the game, you know. But it was hard to focus on the game when it took 20 minutes to resolve a demonic tutor in Swiss rounds, or no, Wheel of Misfortune. What was that? Yeah, with the Wheel of Misfortune in Swiss rounds, and it just took forever. But other than that, like I felt like it went pretty well. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Adam?
I think it went really well. Like for a casting experience, that was one of the better tournament casts that I think like people have done. I think for two reasons. The first one was I think we were really well focused on the game, and we had an inside ear at all times. Like we were watching the games directly from a spell table stream directly. We were able to cast live, portray the information to everybody, and there wasn't any confusion. And when there was confusion, we could figure it out, or the people in chat could help us figure it out. It went very smooth, and it felt very personable, which I think was the best part of the stream. Was it didn't feel like two guys that were distanced from everybody talking about Magic. It felt like two guys talking to 100 people in chat about Magic. Yeah. And I think that's like the vibe of Chaos that I really like, is everybody feels close. So like even though Chaos and Foss are the tournament organizers, they're talking to everybody, and they let whoever they want come in and talk to them during these like tournament what is it? The tournament stage rooms and everything like that.
The player
meetings. The lobbies.
The player meetings, yeah. Anybody can ask questions and come up on stage and do it. It feels very personable, and I felt like our stream reflected that, where it's like we can hop in the player rooms and ask them questions directly on stream. Like, hey, what the fuck are you doing?
I was going to say that. I think also like another aspect. I don't know if Chaos has done this before, but I also liked what we were doing. We brought in like the winner. Like we brought in Vasher, we brought in Jokey, and be like, okay, what were your thoughts on this? Like, what was running through your head? And then they talk us up. I think that added like another dimension to to help our stream and be like, oh, okay, that's why they made these game decisions, or like, oh, that was really cool. Maybe I learned something. You know,
it was every game too. So every game that happened, we'd bring in the person
like the
who won, or not even the winner. Sometimes we'd bring in a person that lost, and we'd be like, "Man, that sucked, huh?"
Man, you suck, bro.
Yeah. No, but it was. I think that was like, it was a very like cool experience to kind of like be a part of, and like the people that were playing were excited to be on stream or excited to talk about their game. They're like, "Wait, not only did I win, but I get an opportunity to talk about my win
on stream." Yeah.
So I think that was really cool and really fun, and it did kind of create this community aspect to the stream that I thought was really enjoyable.
At first I was like, oh, maybe like they're not like, I wouldn't say not, they weren't going to be energetic on coming on stream and talking, but most of them like, yeah, sure, I'll go on stream and talk, which I thought was like, oh, okay. I didn't think that you would like come on stream and talk. But some of the guests we did have on like to talk, so I shouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah, there was a few people that were like, I've been waiting for this opportunity my whole life
to talk to 100 people.
And that was the other thing too. The stream had 100 people in it constantly. I don't think we ever dipped below 100 for the entire 12 hours.
We did. I don't think we dipped below 80. I think we had 100 for at least 4 hours or something, which was like a lot. I felt.
I mean, the
chat
seemed
was
like
very poppin'.
Yeah, it seemed like everybody was very receptive too. I went back and checked the VODs. We were at 2,000 views last time I looked at it, which like that's our most viewed video ever, technically, like compared to our podcast and everything.
Yeah, where's our subs? Come on, come join us.
Yeah, please watch our content. Yeah, but no, I thought it was a really good time, and I got a bunch of but like people DM'd me afterwards and were like, that was one of the best cEDH streams that I've ever watched. And I was like, wow, that's cool. The bar must be really
don't stop. Keep saying words.
I was just like, the bar must be really low.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned this before though, Adam. I think our attentiveness to the game really like helped people to stay like not in tune, but like paying more attention to like the actual stream. Like I don't know if you guys do this, but like I put on a Twitch stream. If the guy's just talking about random shit, I'm like, okay, I don't care. But like we were like on point. We were talking about the game most of the time, and I felt like that, like the chat like that, and like the people that DM'd you were like, yeah, you guys talked about the game. That was like weird. Normally Magic commentators just talk about what bagels they had for breakfast. It's like, who the fuck cares about your bagels, dog? This is a Magic tournament.
That was
also fun hearing Adam just fucking not understand how decks work, and he's like, "Why did he get that card? It doesn't make any sense."
Why did
I'm
he
like,
get this
Adam,
card,
bro? And I would wait for the chat to correct you, and you'd be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I got you."
I don't get mucked up on it that often. There was definitely like in your game was probably the one game I was the most confused in, because I'm like, well, what the hell does this card do? And then like all of a sudden like you turned like a card that I've never seen in my life before. You also turned it into a vehicle with crew, and then I'm like, why the fuck is it sideways?
Right.
It doesn't have haste. I'm like, we're all confused. And then Vasher's in chat. He's like, call a fucking judge. What are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
I don't even remember what happened. You guys were like, "How did he attack?" And we're like, "Oh, I made his Adeline a fucking vehicle so he couldn't attack me," and then he crewed it.
We missed the Swift configuration. We thought you exiled it off he exiled the fish, and then we thought you Swift something, and then we were like, no, he's attacking. He just played that. Yo, judge, get him.
Yeah. You guys came in and you were like, "What the fuck happened?" And I was like, "That's a car. That there lady is a fucking motorcycle."
It's a
It was
dump
just-
truck.
It was just wild because like there are like a few, because you see a lot of off meta decks. That's the thing, is like I'll see a bunch of decks in a tournament, because like I cast a lot of tournaments, and I'll see a bunch of decks in tournaments. I'm like, what the fuck is this list? Like I've never seen this before. I have no idea what it does or what it's supposed to do. And then like I ask for the deck list and I see it, and I'm like, I still have no idea what this deck does.
I can't read the cards. It's on spell table. It won't load. Damn it! What did these do?
It's just funny. And so like in a tournament you have to guess. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what they're doing here. Does anybody else have any idea? And then chat will be like, I think he grabs this. I don't know. And it's like, okay, we're gonna run with that idea, right? So it's just funny stuff like that that leads to fun experiences. But I think that's also what makes a stream good, right? Like if I have to ask the chat a question, like the chat's excited to be like, ooh, we got a question, like let's respond. Yeah. So it made for a really fun time. Yeah, and it made.
Yeah, I feel like the drop-ins, the little bombs you guys dropped, were super cool. Like, you know, obviously in the one game I was in, but like every time I was watching you guys after my games, like something would happen, you'd be like, we gotta fucking check on it. And you would pop in and be like, "Hey, what the fuck?" And they would explain it, and you'd be like, "Oh, cool, thank you guys, bye bye." And you would pop out and be like, "Yeah, so he just did blah there," and then you just fucking went out. It was cool. I like it.
That stuff is different, and nobody else really does it. And I thought like for a webcam tournament, that's like the perfect, because like think about it, Chaos is it's a webcam tournament. It's free. The prize support is donated, and nobody really takes themselves too seriously for the entire event. Like even the best players in the event, like fuck up sometimes and shit. Like one of like a really good player is Gustav, right? He won the Playing with Power tournament. He's playing a game. We're in the middle of streaming it, and he puts a wing crafter into play, and then all play stops. We're like, what the fuck just happened? And like nothing happens for like 15 minutes, and then a judge gets called, and we're like, okay. I messaged Gustav. I'm like, what happened? He's like, I cut Wingcrafter but forgot to take it out the deck. I have 101 cards. That's a game loss.
No.
And I was like, okay. And then, like, he still was a game off of top 16. Like, even the best players are, like, laughing and having a good time, or, like, shit posting or whatever. So it's like, why not shit post on the stream? Like, I don't care. I'm going to hop in your game and interrupt it in the middle of it and be like, hey, what the fuck just happened? And they'll be like, oh, we did this, this, and this. Oh, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Like, you're helping the stream go. And, like, that was that, right? Like, and then, like, I think something that we did that's really fun that nobody else does is when a bomb gets dropped on the battlefield, we're actually excited for it. Like, so many times I'll watch a stream and, like, someone will put Thoracle on the stack. Everybody's like, wow, Ka0s Oracle. We know what's coming. We'll be like, oh, shit, the last turn, 3 counter spells were used, and now Thoracle's on the stack. This is it. Yeah, this is game over. This is done. And then all of a sudden someone's like, all demonic consultation. We're like, no, he's getting it. Like, mind break trap. You're like, what the fuck?
From the top ropes.
like, because we were invested in the games, right? Like, we're sitting here watching them. We pick who we think is going to win. Yeah. Like, and like, that's because you have to fill the dead space. So you have to talk about something. So, like, we're sitting there like, okay, who do you think's going to win? I think this guy's going to win. And he's like, well, I think this guy's going to win. Well, we'll find out who's right, you know? Like, we're going to
And then we also did, like, if we sat down, what would our dream mulligans be, or like the optimal mulligans be for each player? Like,
I think it's.
I know, like we may not be tournament grinders, but I feel like we have a decent amount of experience from like actual gameplay and like watching and like just generally consuming content that we're like, okay, this is what maybe they're gonna go for. And like I'd say 75% of the time is right. And Adam, I know we're gonna bring up something that you called in the final pod, which was fun.
Oh yeah, that one was funny. I was gonna say the coolest part about casting is making predictions and being right. There's nothing that feels better than being like, all right, they demonic tutored. I think they're grabbing intuition. And it's like, why would they tutor for a tutor? I'm like, 1 card win condition in this color combo. They tutored for intuition, and they're like, nah. And then like all of a sudden they'll be like, intuition on the stack. I'm like, oh, like it, like that. That's like the coolest part. So I don't know. It was fun. I don't know, like, because Kevin, you got to watch it for a good portion of it. I hope that.
Yeah, I never got to watch the beginning of your guys' streams, but I always got to watch like the last like third of a game.
I remember the first pod when Scoots held up like the Mox Domination Tomb. Adam, I don't know if you remember this. I said he either has intuition or Oppo, and then he reveals his hand has intuition and Oppo. Couldn't cast both of them.
I said, I think there was a point where he put 5 mana into play and said go. And I'm like, oh, this is for sure an intuition hand. Yeah. And then 2 Thorn effects get put into play. And I'm like, well, that's out the window. And then I asked Scoots after the game, I'm like, what happened? He's like, I was holding an intuition until 2 Thorns came into play.
Dude, there was 3 Thorns at one point. I was sitting there like, God damn it, my 1 mana spells cost as much as a Karn.
It was so funny. It was such a good game. We were trying to analyze because like he exiled your Thoracle, and I'm like, oh, why would he do that? Like he just put the Thoracle in a place where it can permanently be. He has an extra card in his hand now for 4 mana. I'm like, that's so I'm like, all Kevin needs to do is get a Tainted Pact, and he can still win here. Like because that Thoracle
through a rule law.
I was such a fan of that play, and I just couldn't get there. I was like, it's tutor time. Mind Sensor. It's tutor. Mind Sensor. And I was like, God damn it, I couldn't Thrasios enough.
Because I was like, oh my God. Fun. I was like, this guy's actually going to do it with a Thoracle and Exile that costs 2 more to play. Yeah. This is hilarious.
And like he had a gajillion mana anyway, so it honestly didn't matter.
I had like 18 mana. It just did not matter. I was ready to go the fuck to town. And then just like, just too many things kept happening. So that's where, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of 2 stacksy of pieces now that I've had to deal with the timer. I feel like I would rather just go for more wins. I don't feel like I want to play more stacks in tournaments.
Adeline is a deck that I like. To be fair, the Adeline player wasn't putting you guys under the rule of law either. It was the Safri player. Which I thought was odd. I thought that was odd. Like, not to hate on anybody's plays or anything, but from a casting perspective, like from the POV of an outsider looking in, you see game decisions, and it's like, why'd you keep that hand, right? So, like, I look at you going first, the Safri player going second, the Scoots on Blue Farm going third, and I'm like, okay, the Safri player goes land, mana crypt, rule of law. And then I'm like, why would you play rule of law into the Adeline player, like, going after you? Now the Adeline player can develop, and you're playing stacks. Yeah, so it was very interesting, and like things that I don't know. Seeing people's decisions and play patterns at tournaments is definitely interesting, especially when you see off meta decks. Adeline's an off meta deck. I know Josh from Mind Muscle Magic is like pushing that deck really hard, but it's definitely not like a top tier deck just yet. Same with Sefri, like Esper Reanimator. Esper struggles in a lot of respect. It's like when you see those decks at a table, you're kind of like, yo, what? And it's like you have to analyze it a lot differently, especially when you're playing against like that was you
Blue Farm and TNT, the tried and true.
I would say that game was yours. Yeah, that game was yours to lose, I think, Kevin. And like you didn't lose, right? You drew, but that was definitely like you were in the best position that entire game.
I did throw, actually. After the game, I recognized I had the opportunity to get either Consultation or Tainted Pact. And if I had gotten... Well, it was weird, right? Because if I had gotten the Tainted Pact, there was an incredibly narrow window before the... what's the 3-mana chalice, the lady?
Sanctum Prelate?
That one. So Sanctum Prelate came down on 2. There was an extremely narrow window where I could have TP'd for like the second to last card on my deck to avoid the Sanctum Prelate, but like not gotten screwed because I went for consultation because I was like, I'm gonna get fucked on mana. Like I need more. I need to be able to cast these cards and counter spells. So yeah, like it was tight. The stacks was rough.
Yeah, it was the funny thing about like that is like with those thorn effects in play, like if you could get a Tainted Pact through, your Thoracle's not getting countered. You know what I mean? Like a Force of Will costing 3 mana is like that's not gonna. Yeah,
my Cradle tapping for 7. Fucking we're gonna pay 3 more. Okay, burp.
Yeah, exactly. So like, but yeah, I thought the casting experience was really fun. It was a little rough around the edges, but we'll improve like in the future if we ever do events like this again. Maybe we can host a tournament in our Discord at some point. It probably won't be to the scale of Chaos, but I think we could do that. Like that would be really fun.
Maybe getting more sleep. Right.
Dude, holy shit.
Okay,
that's something.
we both got what, 2 hours?
Yeah,
I was up until fucking 5:15 in the morning after playing Blue Farm Mirror Match for like 2.5 hours with you guys.
I think I got home at 5 and then had to organize all the prize support the night before, so it was all set up for the stream in the morning. So that was like such a bad experience because it was just like, all right, going to bed at 6, waking up at 9, let's have fun.
Dude, like, okay, straight up, my game 2, I was so tired and like I hadn't had any food. I was like, I felt like there were 3 things in my head I could remember, and I was like, a new piece of info. Anywho, I'm gonna go for a win, and I would just fucking dude, I was so bad.
Listen, you just can't attempt wins with Kenrith on board with 4 mana in play.
Well, the thing is, I had planned for that. I fucking did, and then I was like literally, I was my turn. I was like, I need to keep 2 mana open for Kenrith so he doesn't get 4 treasure. I don't care if you get the treasure, and that's the shit that happened. It's like I had a revolving 3. I could have paid for it, and I literally thought about that, but I was like, I'm gonna pay for my Pact of Negation. I'll save 2 mana, and then like, fucking we were tired. Yeah, next time 9 p.m. bedtime because holy shit, we were dying.
I do think that we're gonna play in a lot more Chaos tournaments after that because that was it was like a really fun, a really good experience, and I think that like the ones that we're not sponsoring, we should definitely be playing in.
Yeah, and I know from like for me, like I kind of have like anxiety about going to like spaces and like joining stuff, like big stuff of people that I don't really know. I don't know if that's for you guys, but like I go in there, I'm like, I don't know anybody. Where am I supposed to go? Then I start panicking, and I'm like, but it felt like it was super easy. Like the bot, like you said, Kevin, just like, okay, go here. Okay, go here. So I'm ready to play in some and lose, but it's free.
The nice thing is, like, if you have anxiety or like social issues, you just don't need to worry about them because you're in your home. You're in your house. You're talking in a webcam. Nobody has to see your face if you don't want them to, and like you don't even have to really communicate all that much besides the games you're playing. So if you play spell table games at all, it's no different than just jamming. It's like you go to an LGS without all the awkwardness because they're going to pair you up with pods for at least 4 rounds, and then that's it, right? Like you get guaranteed 4 games on a Saturday. Yeah. So
I'll be honest.
I was just saying it from like going like
into a brawl.
Your game 3 did?
Yeah, dude, the moment that I landed my win, it was just like, you did this, and everyone was fucking mad, dude. I had my own stream up, and I had people watching my stream because, you know, there are not enough seats to like have people in our spell table games. And like some of the people watching me, afterwards they were like, hey, you handled that really well. People were just fucking mad. Like, it was like, you fed the Esper Sentinel, he was drawing 9 cards a turn, this is your fault. And he was like, I had to counterspell. People were just fucking mad. So the whole anxiety, no, you were wrong. If you have social anxiety, it's the exact same problems, except now these people you don't know who they are.
I guess that can become a problem. I don't know. I never have that problem because like I'm usually the one like to like at the end of a round I like mitigate everything. I'm like, all right, good games. That was really fun. Like if you like, who thought they could have done something different? I'm never like if someone starts yelling, I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. Nobody cares.
Just straight up. Yeah, like that's what I did. But yeah, like I mean, I won't say there's like nothing if you're like socially anxious, but like I'm kind of with Kian. Like my first hand, dude, straight up, I was like, Ledger Shredder pass, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking lose this game. I'm gonna look stupid on camera. Dude, I was sitting there shaking like a leaf.
The funniest thing when you're streaming is when you can tell someone's nervous because they're shaking as they're attempting to win the game, and it's just like so fun to see because like Like, you are nervous. Cast
Oracle.
Yeah. Because like that's
You're like,
that
wow,
is what
which lands do I tap?
That's what it feels like, though, right? Like anytime that you play, like it is like when you're attempting to win the game, it is like nerve wracking. So
yeah.
I give credit where credit is due.
So
especially when you're on stream.
Do we want to like brush upon like what else happened in the Swisses, or like any other interesting thing, either coming from you, Kevin, as a player, or like Adam, you want to touch on like some interesting stuff that we caught on in the Swiss? I know we definitely had like a couple instances where like politics were involved. There was a couple, the Wheel of Misfortune with so it was joking. Was it sick? It was Sick Robot, joking, right? In this same pod.
Joking in this same pod.
And then two other people, joking, put a Wheel of Misfortune on the stack after an ad Naus, and he had like horn, the backside of Bergie out horn, and he was at 23 or 24. One player was at 22. Another Sick Robot was on like 23, and then another player was at 37. So joking had to resolve the Wheel of Fortune in order to win.
With a backside of Bergie in play.
Yeah, I said that.
Well, like it was a situation where basically, if joking was able to resolve the wheel, he would win the game.
Yeah, they would have won.
But Sick had a counter spell, I believe, or a way to stop. Like in order to stop him from wheeling,
he had to die.
Sick Robot had to die. And he was like, I'm willing to die, but only if we agree to a draw. Because if I die just so that joking can't win the game, I want to draw, because otherwise I'm sacrificing myself for you guys to get better win percentage, and my win percentage will go down. So he's like, how about we just all agree to draw, and then he'll never resolve the wheel. And that's what happened. We just watched a draw get agreed to live on stream. Yeah, and I was like,
and it was funny because we didn't know what was happening at first. We were like, okay, Wheel of Misfortune on the stack, and then like 10 minutes passed. We're like, what's happening?
10 minutes
all right, let's hop in the pod.
They start shaking hands. We're like, what the fuck just happened? Like, did they just concede at instant speed or whatever? And then like, no, it's like they like, I guess like it's the same thing that happened at Tier 1 Con, where like it was like a king making situation, and like rather than going into that situation, they're like, hey, let's play to our outs. If we just draw the game, nobody feels bad, and we all get a point.
Yeah.
So we watched that happen live. I'm like, what the fuck is this political show? And we're sitting there on stream, and we're like, so Wheel of Misfortune's still on the stack.
Still on the stack. Chat, what's up?
Yeah.
How was your day?
So funny. I forgot that we streamed that. Like, that's hilarious.
We streamed that whole game. I think with the Gustav instant, it took us like 15 minutes, and we're like, all right, we're going to a new game. This one, we're like, no, we're staying. We're going to finish this.
No matter
20 minutes later.
I had an interesting one of my games. I'd resolved an oppo at one point. I don't even remember which game this was. But one of the players, like, we needed a board wipe bad, very bad. And I was part of that problem. And so one of the players was like, I got a vamp tutor. Will you get a toxic deluge? And I was like, I remembered a thing Adam told me, and I was like, I'll make you a deal. I will get a toxic deluge, and I will cast it as to risk unless I can win the game. And he was like, no. You get the toxic deluge, you cast a toxic deluge. And I was sitting there with that fucking board full of creatures at 2 HP, and I was like, I'll cast it for 1. And he was like, you cast it for 2. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. We bickered over it for like almost 10 minutes. And it was like, I'm just not going to tutor for it then. And I was like, okay, my board's way better. That's fine by me. If you want to tutor for it, I will win the game. But like, and we just sat and discussed it for a while. So I don't know. I tried to do your little like, I'll do it unless I can win, and then they didn't fucking like that, Adam. So maybe maybe not the best strategy.
Well, no, because that's like because you don't want to lie, right? So you don't want to be like, okay, if you vamp tutor for a card, like, well, you get this card that I know is in my list, whatever, and you're like, oh yeah, for sure, and then like. You like flip it over and you're like, that's his Oracle, mother. Yeah, exactly.
It's the Oracle like a boss.
Like I don't know. I don't think lying to win games is healthy. I don't think that's like something you should do. So I do like the aspect of like, okay, like saying like, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, man. Like I'm going to get the Toxic Deluge if I need it, right? But if I look in your library and I see that I can win the game with a different card, I'm entitled to that card. So if you want to cast the tutor, by all means, go ahead. But that's the gamble you're taking.
Yeah.
And then that player would go, well, I don't want to take that gamble. And you go, okay, problem solved.
Yeah.
Are you passing priority? You know,
I feel like having the thing like, okay, you're gonna make your game actions that are best for you, and I'm gonna make the game actions that are best for me. And you, I may help you out, and I may not help you out. Whatever like helps me win is gonna help me more than helping you. And then they're like, oh, I'm not gonna cast this. I'm like, I never said that.
Or you don't have to answer it, right? He's like,
Yeah,
hey, I have Toxic
deflection.
Deluge in my deck. Are you gonna get? Are you gonna? If I cast Vamp Tutor, will you get Toxic Deluge? And then your response could just be, put it on the stack.
See, I didn't do that. I went with the honest route. And the interesting thing was, I flat out was like, listen, I'm okay with. Like, I didn't say this, but I was like, if I get your Toxic Deluge and then I just don't even use it, fucking fine by me. You ain't got a Toxic Deluge. Sounds great to me.
Yeah, you just
like,
extracted
That should
them.
have been that should have been something he said. If he's like, I have Toxic Deluge in my deck, will you get Toxic Deluge? I would have been like, yeah, I will.
I'll
after a
take your
second, I
board
was
wipe
just like,
off your hands.
I'll,
I have a board.
I'll take your Deluge. And he's like, you're gonna cast it for 2, and I was like, I'm gonna cast it for 1.
Not even
I
that.
want my shit.
I would have just been like, I'll
Leave
take
it in
your
exile.
Deluge.
Yeah, I don't know. So
I will
there was a
take
bit of
your-
politicking.
That's funny. Yeah, and I think politicking is good. And I think like it leads to fun game scenarios. I just think there's a point where it's like, we're in a tournament, man. We're going to time. Like, yeah, let's fucking go. Like
Just concede. Give me win.
in the tournaments I've played, I try to be really fast. It's something that we can try too, like in our play group that I've seen people do is a chess clock. So like they'll bring a chess clock to their games.
You're going to
and,
be
like,
violating that rule every time. You're going to get so many game losses.
hold the fuck
Both
up.
you
Let me go.
guys are the slowest players in our group.
No. What I'm saying is
Deadass.
this. No, what I'm saying is like you take a chess clock and like you have 2 of them, one on either side of the table, and you hit the chess clock every time you pass the turn, and you see who takes longer, and it helps you get faster at the game because you'll learn to make your game decisions faster. I'm serious.
Great politicking. I just bought a fucking chess clock on Amazon. We're bringing it Friday. You will go.
This is gonna be fun. I think it'd be really fun for our play group to like actually try to use.
You're gonna
chess
see the
clock.
clock at 31 minutes out of the fucking 50 on you, and you're gonna be like,
I laugh.
This is correct.
I laugh because like I'm notorious in our local meta for like taking too long between turns.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, buddy, I keep winning games though. So who's
It's
at fault
like-
here?
It's like
bro,
a
you win
Krark
games
turn.
like a fucking.
It's like a Krark turn where like you have to make the game actions because there's triggers on the stack. Like that's 30 minutes. An Adam turn, he has to make 2 game actions, and it still takes 30 minutes because he's sitting there talking to people.
This
Yeah, I was like,
motherfucker wins.
I'm trying to-
He wins games like a fucking Pentium 4 opens fucking Microsoft Word. It's like 30 minutes on one goddamn thing. Barely fucking gets through it.
Listen,
somehow.
I can derive all the information I need out of the 20 questions I ask, and then I know it's safe to go for it. Dude, the other day, I put a Thoracle on the stack that should not have resolved. There was like 6 counter spells, and I was able to fight it off. I was like, holy shit. But yeah, no, it's tournament metas are just way different. I don't think there was anything else in the Swiss that I remember that was crazy. Besides, like we witnessed like a couple of judge calls that were pretty weird. We had someone that had their deck that was flipped both ways.
Boxed and shit.
Like
I think
like
I was in
Wes's-
that game.
Yeah, he was
we
in your
called it-
first game.
we called a judge because it technically could be marked cards, and like some of the cards, I was like, "Yo," I was like, "Bolas's Citadel, Thoracle." I'm like, these are some
Oracle.
powerful cards. Like, so we made sure that got taken care of.
And,
We
and, like it was completely random too because there's like lands and stuff. Like it wasn't like he wasn't.
but like the
intentionally
cards that
doing
we
it.
could see, we were like, "Oh
Yeah.
shit!" Like that
We were
could
like,
be a problem. Yeah. So we
Oracle
called a judge for
Consultative
that.
Pact. What?
No, so we got that fixed, and then that was about it. Though there's nothing. I was like actually really happy because like everything went smooth, no cheaters. We had like a few people that like we had to watch on stream because like there was possibility that like they were shuffling weird, so people asked us to check, but everything
Yeah.
checked out and was smooth. Like there was no problem.
Yeah.
So it was really well ran, and like Tremnek, who ended up winning the whole thing, who we'll talk about later, was a really cool dude, and like I was really happy that he ended up taking the thing home because when we get into the top 16, some freaky stuff happens.
This is
in
where
the top
shit gets
16.
real.
Yeah, but before we get into that, I think Kian, you can probably move on to our.
We got y'all's favorite segment of the show, flavor text of the week. Okay, for those of you that are just tuning in or don't know what a segment is, you guys should know by now if you listen to us. It's where I, Kian, try to stump the cast on the podcast, and you, the audience, with a flavor text from Magic's history. So please have your answers ready so you can submit it with spoiler tags in our flavor text judge Discord channel. So for the cast, I have an easy one for you guys. All right. I study the past to find hope for the future. I study the past to find a hope for the future.
This is ours or for the...
You guys'.
Ours.
I study the past to find hope for the future.
Yep.
Dig through time.
Okay, so I presume that this is a cEDH playable card and not some fringe bullshit.
Yep.
Wait, was it not dig through time? I thought that was a good guess.
No.
Oh.
It's not a cEDH card, which is weird.
Is it?
What a good...
Yeah, it is. Dig through time's played in Yuriko.
I don't see it very much, and it's such a good card. It's so... Whatever. The past. I mean, it's blue.
It's a blue card, right?
If it's not a blue card, I fucking wouldn't even know where to start.
Maybe.
Honestly.
Don't give us the shrugs. We already determined it's blue, right?
Okay,
so
yeah.
we're right on that.
Then why are you asking
Okay,
me?
see. Because that's that's a flavor text. Like off the bat, you're like, that's blue flavor text for sure. I study the. Say it again. I study the past.
I study the past. I study the past to find hope for the future.
To find hope for the future. Sounds blue and white.
Is it Hope of
not a
Gearford?
counter
Remember when we saw that Hope of Gearford?
Yeah, that
thing?
was It is
was
not.
insane.
Hogged off on that thing.
It is not Hope Gearper. It's a blue magic card.
Question. Was it prominent in the Chaos 4 tournament?
No.
Okay, you fucked up on picking your card then. You should have picked something relevant. You could have been like, all story time. Let's see.
The one for the cast is,
For the cast.
or for the audience.
For the peeps. Yeah.
I study. What was that? I study the past to find hope for the future.
Yep.
Oh, it's probably some fucking stupid Krark. What's a stupid fucking Krark card that makes you draw?
Not a Krark card.
Okay.
I study. It's not Ristic study, obviously, right?
No.
I study the past to find hope for the future. I honestly have no idea.
It's mystical tutor.
It's
I
a
don't think
wizard.
so. It's a wizard.
A wizard. Thassa's Oracle.
Yeah, that's not the one. I'm gonna be honest with you, Chief.
It's a
No.
wizard.
That's Oracle doesn't
It's
have flavor text.
Probably not Dranith Magistrate.
No, it's blue. It's blue. It's blue.
We don't know that.
He said yes.
I said it's blue.
Yeah.
Oh, you did confirm it. Okay, gotcha. So it could be. It's not Derevi, I don't think. What is
Blue
it?
wizards. How many blue wizards are there in CD? Is it Venser? Shaper Savant?
Arcanus the Omnipotent. Final answer.
What the fuck is that?
No.
Oh god, Blue Wizard. It's not the Blue Wizard.
It's used in
Nakashima.
wizard decks.
Wizard cycling? What's a wizard cycling card?
Step Through. It's probably not Step Through. Yeah.
Not step
'Cause
through.
step through.
Step
Oh,
through
Spellseeker.
Nope.
No.
Fuck.
Close.
That's a blue. It's close to
Close.
Spellseeker.
Yeah.
Close to Spellseeker.
Spell Smeller.
Oh, it's that. Is it the new 4-mana shitty Spellseeker? No, that's not
What's the
CDH playable.
No.
It's used in a wizard combo deck.
Wizard combo deck. Inala. What does Inala play? Oh, it's the 7-mana one, the big dumb one. I need to
You gotta say the
for
name.
it.
I need a
hold on.
name, Kev.
I fucking no. I threw it away. I had it on my desk like a month ago, and I threw it in the trash. God, what is it? Time to go on Scryfall and Google. I'm not looking at the flavor text, so this isn't cheating technically. I just don't know the name.
I don't know.
Wizard.
Tetsumak?
MV equals 7. Fucking send it. Up has enter the battlefield. I know it's one of those things. Enter the battlefield. Scryfall lesson, boys. Send it. Enters the battlefield. Here we go. Scholar of the Ages. Final answer.
Correct.
I've never
fucking
even
don't
seen.
know.
I've never even heard of that card before.
Yeah.
Basically, it gets instance from your graveyard, sorcery's instance from your graveyard, your hand, and
So
gets
it's
2.
also a win con, and Nala can make infinite hastes of these ladies. And just...
Because the problem with the Anala win con without this card is that you could only get one thing back, and you needed to get 2 things. And so whenever this was printed, people were like, "Ooh!" And you could you bounce it and flicker it to get more shit back.
Yep.
Good card. Good pick, Kian. I like it.
All right.
Does that mean you're building Anala?
Maybe. The next flavor text for the audience is going to be, with one motion, a pest is removed and a scourge inflicted. I'll say it again. With one motion, a pest is removed and a scourge inflicted. Okay.
Probably a Mirrodin card.
It's from the Chaos 4 tournament. That's your guys' hint. Our hearts went out.
Interesting.
Okay, cool. I guess I'll fucking find out, because I literally never know until Looter Scooter goes and puts her thing in and is always right.
It's always Scorish, dude. Scorish always
It's
does
Fuck
it.
Scorish. Just shame on you people. Stop getting them right. Other people there are poor people that need packs.
Scorish, I have your packs that I've been neglecting.
Oh, wait. Are we showing off the packs that we have yet to mail to Scorish? Because I also have a pack that's supposed to be mailed to Scorish.
So these are Scorish's packs. These are Scorish's future packs.
Here, wait. Look, I've got good spice this week. Look, I've got. This is Scorish's pack. Here, let me bring the microphone out here. I've got. This is a Commander collection that's supposed to be mailed for Chaos. Here's all the packs we gave away at Chaos. Here's the secret layer. I've got like 10.
Oh, hold up. Here's 3 cards I donated. Yeah, you got a bottle.
Yeah, we got to give those away. Yeah, we have so much shit we got to mail out and give away yet. It's fucking.
Today's feeding the fish will be, which patron secretly makes you the most angry, and why is it Scorish?
No, we love Scorish. He's the homie.
All right, let's move on to the spicy shenanigans. Shenanigans? I think shenanigans would be the right word to describe the top 16 and finals pod of the Chaos tournament. Adam, what happened?
Top 16 was fucking stupid. It was so ridiculous. Like, not even, like, in a good way. So we saw some crazy shit go down in top 16. I think the most notable game that we saw in the top 16 was Vasher's game to get into Final Four.
Bro.
Vasher's playing Thrasios Rograk, and he's got, like, a bunch of mana on board. Time goes to round, or
Final round. Turn.
Or oh no, that was in Swiss. It wasn't in top 16. No, that was the last game of Swiss.
No, this was top 16. He won off the flip. Remember?
No, the Emergence Zone. Remember, because the top 16 game we watched Cochlear.
Oh, this was Swiss?
That was Swiss. So we'll rewind back a little bit.
Yeah, I thought that was top 16. Sorry, guys.
The craziest game we saw in Swiss was Vasher's. The last round of Swiss needed a win to make it into top 16, I believe. And It's time and round. We're going to turns. It's the last person in turns. It's the second to last person in turn order. So this is turn 2 out of. Oh no! It's active player, because there is no turns. So like as soon as this player ends their turn, the game is over. So the player looks over, like attempts to win, it gets stopped. Someone like kills their Malcolm, and it is what it is, right? And he's like, well, I guess we're going to draw the game, right, guys? And Vasher goes, yep, seems like we're going to draw the game. And then the guy goes, all right, well, then I'm going to pass my turn. And Vasher goes, okay, I have an effect at your end step. Vasher taps 2 lands, cracks Emergence Zone, plays a Jessica's Will, a Wheel of Fortune into a Jessica's Will, into a win, all at instant speed, by polymorphing his Malcolm into Hullbreaker.
His, whatever, not Malcolm.
It would have been Rograk, but I think the Rograk got... Or Thrasios, that's what it was. It
was something. But he had Druid's Repository out the whole game, or basically the whole game. He tried a win attempt with Tidespout Tyrant. He flipped, the first card was Tidespout Tyrant, the first time he flipped for Druid's Repository. He tries to go for a win attempt, gets stopped. Second time goes around, active player. He's like, all right, I'm going to crack Emergence Zone. He Wheels of Fortune. Wheels of Fortune into Justice Will, produce a bunch of mana. He exiles the top 3. The first card is Reality Scramble. The only out he had, because he already cast a red one. the only out he had to win the game was Reality Scrabble, and that was the first card flipped, and then polymorphs into whole breaker horror and just goes off. It was just insane. It like everybody in chat was pogging, like it was a poggers moment.
It was
there
like
were a lot of snakes.
It was like such a cool moment because people were like there's like really like notable people in the chat, like Reed, Sick Robot, and other people, and they're like, he doesn't have it. There's not a win here. What are you talking about? And then like he flips the polymorph, and they're like, oh shit, he got there. Everybody's like, no fucking way he got there. And like it was just funny because it was like it was a Hail Mary. It was like, all right, well, I got an effect, so I might as well go for it. And like, oh yeah, infinite mana, draw my deck, play Thoracle or not Thoracle, just like draw my deck, brain freeze out the table, or do whatever. It was just like. It was cool. Crazy. It was like such a cool way to win the game.
That was the craziest stuff that happened in the Swiss round, I guess. Sorry for rewind. Now, fast forwarding to top 16.
Top 16 was really cool.
Yeah. Adam, you want to go on what happened in top 16?
I was just going to say the first match we watched was the Cabal game. So it was like Cokleo, Z-Rob, Richie, and there was one other person in there. They're all from the Cabal play group. They were playing some really cool meta decks. Z-Rob was playing the Truth, which is an Adnos Najeela variant, where like it's Najeela, but the goal is to Adnos, and it just runs Derevi Najeela in the 99. And I think he ripped a turn 2 Adnos and won the game in that pod. Like literally just ripped turn 2 Adnos and was like, all right, that's me. And got there like off the skin of his teeth. It was like almost, we didn't see the line, and then he ended up winning the game.
He went one deep. He went one more deep, and then I think it was like it was either a Mopal or like a Mana Rock or Tutor or something that he needed to win the game, and then he got there.
It was really cool to see that game. And that pod was funny because they were like shit posting in the pod. They had like a bunch of memes on their playmats, and like Z-Rob has like fucking anime tokens that he like kept flashing to the fucking webcam. Yeah. So that was just like funny. And then the rest of top 16 took 2 fucking hours.
Yeah, dude.
I remember there was the game with Tremnek where it was Tremnek, Noobzorus, and a few other players. It was Tremnek, Noobzorus, and Vasher, and they made a deal with Tremnek. Basically, like Noobzorus could stop a win attempt, right? And Noobs are like, these are the ITN guys, right? And all the ITN guys are very political. They make a lot of deals. So a win attempt was put on the stack, and Noobs was like, okay, I can stop this win attempt, but Tremnek, it goes to your turn. So if I stop
this was all in response to Joking's demonic tutor, by the way. Or was this?
No, this is a different pod. We'll talk about that in a sec. This pod was different. This pod, there was a win attempt going on, and Noobs was like, I can stop this win attempt, but you're next in turn order, Tremnek. So if I stop this win attempt, I'm only going to do it if you promise me you're not going to win on your next turn. And Tremnek was like, okay, deal. And so Noobs counters the spell. It gets to Tremnek's turn, and Tremnek is like, so I have this Final Fortune in my hand. And I can win the game. And Noobs ended up talking Tremnek out of the Final Fortune. And was like, that wasn't the deal we made. I said you cannot win, like, blah, 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 blah. And Tremnek's like, well, I'm taking an extra turn. It's not my next turn. And Noobs was like, do whatever you want, but then, think about your morals or whatever. So Tremnek passed the turn and didn't win. And it was like, I was like, damn, like, that's crazy. It was like really controversial in my eye. Like, it was quite the decision. But then Tremnek ended up winning the game anyway, so it didn't matter. But I was just like, damn, like, I would have casted that Final Fortune. I wouldn't even have asked. I would have been like, fuck it.
Cast Final Fortune?
Yeah.
100% dude. The fucking lawyer of like, see right here, it wasn't this turn actually. I would have 100% ripped that. No fucks.
Oh yeah, for sure. It would have been fucking awesome. So like, I thought that was really funny. But I was like, good on Tremnek because he got rewarded for it, right? Because he got big rewarded because he won the game in a way that made everyone happy, right? Because he didn't upset Noobs. And then because he won that game, he ended up winning the whole tournament. So maybe there's something to be said. Like maybe, like karma, it was like reverse karma. It was good luck because he made a play decision that he thought was correct. and it ended up allowing him to win the entire tournament. But man, I would have ripped that Final Fortune. I'd be like, "Fuck you guys, I'm slamming this bitch." So I thought that was really funny. So that was one game in top 16. The other game was we were watching a game with Joking in it, and someone Joking put a demonic tutor on the stack. In response to the demonic tutor, another player casted a oh no, that was the same game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the same because Vasher was in the pod. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, but this was but this happened
after.
This happened before what I just described. But
Correct.
yeah, he puts a demonic tutor on the stack. Vasher responds by tapping their Forbidden Orchard, giving their spirit to Joking. Yep. But Joking is a Razaketh deck. So they called a judge to determine if he could take back the token and give it to someone else because he hadn't declared what mana he was making from the from the Forbidden Orchard.
Yeah.
And they got two different answers, one from the regular judge, one from the head judge. And it was hilarious.
What did the regular judge say?
Regular judge said, the regular just said, take it back. Like, that's fine. Priority hasn't passed. You haven't made the mana yet. Take it back and decide who you want to give it to. Then the head judge declared, no, you had already noted that you were giving the spirit to that player.
Yep.
That is now done because priority can't go around in that instance. So it's a state-based action, basically. You're giving them a spirit.
I was under the impression that mana abilities you could reverse as long as it doesn't, cause a game action like an ETB trigger or something.
Well, the Forbidden Orchard creates a trigger, and since the trigger resolved, giving Joking the 1/1, he couldn't retake it.
Yeah, because whenever it's like City of Brass, right? When it becomes tapped, you do take a damage. So when you tap Forbidden Orchard, you have to give them a spirit. So
yeah, sorry, I was thinking that it was a part of the mana ability. Yeah, you're right, it's a triggered ability.
It's whenever you tap.
So Looter declared no, you got to give him the spirit because you said you would.
Yeah,
and it took priority.
It took
half
30 minutes for them to determine that.
Hey, here's the question: did that 1/1 matter at fucking all?
No, because Tremnek ended up winning the game.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where it's hey, they knew he had Razaketh in hand because someone bounced Razaketh to his hand after he already put it into play. So it was hey, Vasher, buddy, our friend who's in our Discord and watches our videos, maybe don't give the spirit to the Razaketh player when you know they have Razaketh. And he was 2 mana off from casting Razaketh out of his hand. So as soon as you give it to him, we're just gonna lose. So why? It was just funny. And then Tremnek was the one that wanted the judge to come. He was no, you said it, so you better live by it. So it was really funny. Joking wasn't even fighting for it that hard.
No.
But yeah, it was just so funny. It took 30 minutes to resolve. And then because of that, we were bouncing between games of nothing happening. There was the game with Sick Robot where they were just
well, what a glorious fucking game that was. We popped in. There was so much shit going on. There was 2 Notion Thieves, a Dothy.
It was I think it was two TNT players and 2 Blue Farm players.
Right, no, yeah, 2, and then Blue Farm, and then what was the other person on? I don't remember.
I thought it was another Blue Farm deck. There's 2 Blue Farm decks.
There's 2 Blue Farms?
Yeah. I think so. We'll have to check top 16 deck list again. But dude, we jump in the game and there's 40 permanents on the battlefield. We're what the fuck is going on? It's just a mid-range grind fest. And Sick ended up getting there with a reverse Thoracle line. But it was just everybody was expending all their resources and drawing 4 cards a turn and just ridiculous. And it's what are you guys are going to mill out before this game ends just by Tymna triggers. Jesus Christ.
Tymna go burr.
And nobody wanted to block because they all had Tymna triggers. So they were all just swinging out at each other. It was just oh my gosh, this is so greedy. But it was just another grindy ass game. That one had Cody Angeloff in it, the Yu-Gi-Oh player. Remember, Kian? That was who was ended up playing that. Cody, by the way, if you ever watch this video, I have a pre-con that you never claimed because you didn't respond to my DM. But yeah, the top 16
it's
was
okay.
fucking...
Yu-Gi-Oh players can't read.
I have 46,000 life points still. I joke on Yu-Gi-Oh all the time, but the more I watch people play it, the more I'm hey, this is kind of fun.
It's an interesting game. It's kind of just 2 people putting pistols at each other's heads and being I was faster, bro. Sorry.
My pistol shot first, baby. But But yeah,
Yeah,
so top 16 was like a great. But dude, it was some of the best players in the format. Like, I was so surprised. I was like, well, not like surprised, but like almost everybody in the top 16 was so good. Like, Opal reached out to me afterwards. Opal was the Minx player that made top 16. Like, they were talking about their list, and like some of these players are like well known in the community, like for just being like historically good. Like, you saw Reed, you saw like Cody's a historic, like Cody's really good at Yu-Gi-Oh! And like is this like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Grinder and wins a bunch of tournaments. He's like, hey, watch me just show up at Magic and top 16 my first event, right? Then you had like Noobs made top 16, Vasher made top 16, all the Cabal guys that made it, right? Like, there was so many like gas people that made top 16. I was like, this shows you that like cEDH is like, it's consistent as much as people like to shit on it. Like, the same people make it quite often, and like it shows that you can really climb in the ranks, you know, when it comes to like the top players in the community. So that was pretty interesting to see for the top 16 at least.
Yeah.
And then the top 4.
And then the finals pod was I think you called. We did our like normal. All right, what does everybody look for in a hand? You were like, all right, Minx was on the play. You're like, all right, turn 1 Draneth in this pod would be insane. And then like Sick Robot, we did like normal like TNT Grindfest, yada, Blue Farm, like Card Advantage Engine, and then
it was Najila.
Najila.
And I was like, Najila's going for Adnaz hard.
Yeah, 100%. And then game starts. Minx is like, all right, Chromox, Exile Green Card, Land, Draneth. Adam's like,
I was like, because I was like, I think something happened where like, all right, when we started like the like hand analyzing, like trying to decide what's going to happen, they snap kept a first 7, and I was like,
no,
in
they
this
mold.
pod, we'll have to watch. I'm almost positive they kept their first hand.
They mold.
But I was like, if I look at this pod, I'm like, I see Najila, I see Blue Farm, I see TNT. I'm like, your only hope is Draneth Magistrate. Like, those commanders are going to outgrind Minsk every day. So, like, you can only hope for Draneth. And then, like, game starts, Draneth on the stack. I'm like, yes, sir. Like, that's what it should have been. And they attempted to win.
That Draneth did
that was
work.
a good one.
I watched that whole game. Holy shit, that thing made the game not happen.
It stopped Zane from winning on what, with his turn 2 Naus, right? Or was it turn 4? It was a early
well,
turn
everybody held up because he played Heuristic Study, and everybody knew he was on Adnaz, right? So everybody held up Interaction. Blue Farm went like Timna beats, accrues some little bit of value.
It was like blatantly obvious. I mean, you play 5 mana, then Demonic Tutor. It's like, okay, what are you gonna get, right? But it was funny watching like the Minsk deck go for it. I thought that was crazy, dude. Like how fast that deck like went to go put Vivian into play, and was like, all right, I'm gonna win here. And then like they were able to stop. I think Tremnek had a counter spell to counter the Vivian. But I was just like, yo, that's insane. Like they went for it immediately, and I was like, that's impressive. And then kind of Sick Robot was kind of out of that game for almost the entire game. Like couldn't get out Timna, couldn't get out Thrasios. The Dorks weren't helping, and like that Demonic Consultation ended up being like the one spell that impacted the game probably the most, because like Zane was gonna win, and then
you got the Mind Break Trap.
Reed was like, let me consult for a Mind Break Trap real quick.
Yeah.
And then Tremnek, that was insane watching Tremnek win the game by being by having
with the Adnaz.
Yeah, he baited an Adnaz. It got countered. Had a Grim Hireling, moved to combat, created 7 mana with his Grim Hireling, and then Reed goes, now's when you play Peer into the Abyss, right? And then Tremnek goes, you mean this one? No, I'm going to win with Diabolic Intent.
And then Thoracle. Yeah.
Yeah, then Thoracle cuts.
Yeah, Thoracle
Intent.
Like,
oh, my God.
And then he got the Peer in the Abyss. He was telling us off like he top decked it. So
as soon as Reed said, you're going to cast Peer now, right? And he's like, you mean this one? No.
Fucking flex, dude.
It was a flex. It was the coolest way to win the game. I was like, oh, my God. And after what he went through in top 16, I was like, well-deserved, man. Like, well-deserved. Like, he sandbagged the Adnaz super well, had a win attempt after the Adnaz, and then ended up drawing into another win attempt afterwards. It made me be like, man, maybe you should be on Grim Hireling and Blue Farm, because I know a lot of people have been cutting it. And then I saw that game, and I was like, fuck.
Hireling's a really good card, man. Like,
Yeah.
especially if you're a deck that can consistently connect, the two best connecting commanders in the format. Yeah, I mean, it's 4 fucking treasures a turn, and plus it removes creatures that are problems. Grim Hireling's a good card. Play it.
Yeah, I like it. I like it more and more. I played into Timna Armix, and I'm like, this card's got utility for sure. I think people are just like going burr at all times now and cutting cards that they think make the deck slower,
Yeah.
So I know that we have like in our play group like people that have their own opinions. Like Bryce hates Grim Hireling in Timna decks, and the more I see it, yeah, I remember he was talking about in the Blue Farm primer, like Blue Farm being too much in the 4C primer, Blue Farm being playing too many Timna cards, with Grim Hireling being one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
just like
he also thinks that it's mandatory in Blue Farm because you're making those Timna concessions. Why not have a really good one? Because you have Crom make 2 treasures. But I think
guess,
Facebreaker. I like Face. I've been liking Facebreaker a lot more.
I told you guys, man. Those 2 bonk to make treasures, they're good.
Yeah.
I'm not high on Facebreaker. I think Facebreaker is actually really bad. But that's whatever. That's a different.
Yeah, this is not the right episode.
But yeah, I mean, it was an insane tournament. The top 4 was really satisfying. Like the top 4 was really like once the top 4 ended, I was like, this was a good tournament. Like the top 16, I think was rough because some of those games went on way too long.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that it ended the way it did.
Yeah, it did a good ending. So
yeah, it did.
Kevin, what are your overall thoughts on Chaos 4? Like what? Some takeaways, some, general thoughts.
Thoughts? I mean, fucking bitching is sick. I liked it. I said, ran well. I had a great time. I'm absolutely doing it again next time. Takeaways, get some sleep. That shit was brutal. Know your deck, honestly. That's one thing that I did well. I jammed TNT, like, not as much as I wanted, but, like, I probably jammed out, like, fucking 15, 20 games the week, 10 days beforehand. And, like, I went through my list, and I just, like, obsessively went over it, and I re-sleeved for the tournament. I even, like, re-sleeved and then dirtied up my sleeves on F&M just to make sure that, like, I didn't have any bullshit on camera. Get your webcam set up about an hour ahead of time. But, like, it's fun. It's spell table, but there's more on the line. And you're going to meet some good players, honestly. Like, even in my pods where, like, everyone had kind of, like, had a bad record, like, we all, like, were playing very... at our peaks, so it felt good. It felt like something that I would love to see more often. Hell, maybe we should host some more tournaments.
I mean, we would love to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know you were kind of like debating like a couple weeks out, like what should I play? Like you were like Najila, and then I was like, no, dude, you got to go TNT, Thrasios, Timna, just too strong.
So
bro.
yeah. I was thinking Nagula, and I'm so glad I didn't, because I looked at the Punt City conversion, and, like, it's not day 1, day 2, but, like, from the whole pool all the way up to top 16, that's, like, my conversion line. Nagila had a shit conversion rate. I mean, it was, like, 1 Nagila list, and I saw, like, 9 or something that it tried, which looked bad. And then, during that tournament, I noticed the same thing. I saw a lot of different people on Nagula, and boy howdy, she just didn't fucking get there. Like, other than the one list, which was basically green blue farm with a funny bird, which is it's not really Nagila. Like, it's just Kenrith with bird.
Yep.
So, I think mid-range was the way to go, and I ended up cutting things like Rest in Peace. I cut Oof. I didn't cut Counterbalance. I probably should have. All of these, like, sort of low to the ground, like, cheap, efficient, I don't like them. They didn't do shit. Dranith's about the only one I think I would keep.
Dranith's a little strong, not to cut.
Yeah, that and Dothy, like, they're so good that they, like, you can't not bring them. But I think you play to win, like, you don't play to, like, you can't just grind people out. Like, you have to have a very real win condition. After talking with Adam more, like, I think I regret not being on Hermit Druid. And as much as I don't like Labman, I think you need more win cons, Like, I think you need to be able to assemble a win quickly. Because in 2 of my 4 games, both of which were ties, I was going to win. Like, there was no fucking way people were going to beat me. But the clock, strong man.
The clock beat you.
I definitely have been higher on Labman the more I see it like in action. Where I'm like, man, like you can just kind of do busted stuff with it, or win at times where maybe you shouldn't have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like by just
Sometimes shitty Thoracle, not a bad card.
Sometimes shitty Thoracle, good. Like
So
honestly.
I think I was really happy with the event. I'd love to see more of it. I think your guys' casting was fun to watch. And I agree with you. Like Twitch streams, I close that shit so fast. Twitch is fucking boring.
It is.
But you guys kept it cool, kept it real.
Thanks, man.
Just
We
keeping it
tried.
real.
Keeping it real, bruh. So yeah. Adam, any
What
closing
about
thoughts?
you, Kian? Nope. What about you? I'm going to you first.
Well, from like a casting point of view, I think that I think for at least my first time and our first time managing a stream, I think it went pretty well. Especially like going in, we didn't get like a practice test with the stream. They were basically like, "Here's the stream key. We're streaming.
No, they
we
offered-
start
no,
in 10
yeah.
minutes."
They offered to practice with us and stuff, and we just like
We don't
were
do
too
that.
lazy to do
We don't
it.
practice here. But
Fucking $5. This shit didn't even hit record.
fuck. But
no, it's recording. I checked.
But yeah, I thought Ka0s was like from my understanding, a lot of like they're having fun. Like they're just there like a weekend, like a Saturday, just here chilling, playing Magic. Like it wasn't like too stressful, I would say, as a tournament. Like everybody was happy, everybody was having a good time. Like the casting was pretty fun, actually. Like what Kevin said, maybe a little bit more sleep would have, allowed us to cast better. But I think we did like pretty good overall. Kept focus on the game. I liked interacting with chat. I think that was a perk for sure. Like keeping the chat involvement up. And yeah, just watching some high-level players play the game. I just wish that we could have popped in maybe and like heard like more of the politics, because I think that's another like pivotal step in understanding like your next direction and how to like not as like to ascend to a higher level of play in this format, especially because like you can know your deck, you can know the lines, but there's 3 other people there. You can't. It's not a one-on-one. You have to talk and communicate, or don't talk and communicate.
Yeah, that'd be something. I don't know how hard this would be, but it'd be super neato if somehow you could get all the audio recordings from the however many games.
I did.
And if there was like a little switchboard where you could be like game 7 and just like turn it on.
Yeah.
That way that they couldn't hear you and all that shit, but you could be like, ooh, they're going for a blah blah blah. We're gonna go into game 13 now.
I have been talking with Ka0s about like maybe adding a function like that, and he said him and Jacoby would work on it because he agrees. So, anyways, Adam.
Yeah. What do I think about Chaos 4 overall? I think it was awesome, dude. That was like the most fun I've ever had being a part of anything in this community. It was just like a fucking good ass time. Like I was hanging out with friends, hanging out with tons of people that we know, meeting new people and making new friends, playing games with content creators, watching content creators play games, casting, making predictions, shit posting, having a fun time. Like it was just it was one of the most fun Saturdays I had. And like even though it was like draining and took a lot of my energy, when it was done, I felt like we accomplished something. Like I was glad that it was like that we did it. I was like, I have no regrets about like donating prizes or having fun. It seemed like we brought the community. I'm sorry, I'm having like a weird voice thing. It felt like we brought the community together for like a good day where like only good things happened.
Yeah.
Like, there's no drama.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, there's no drama, no weirdness, no like everybody just had fun, played games, and was like, all right, we're playing a tournament. This is good. And it was online, and everybody got to eat and go home and pet their dogs, and like it didn't take take anything out of everybody. I feel like if we could make this a standard and maybe do like paid tournaments in the future, I know Ka0s has been looking into that, where like people can actually like support themselves off of tournaments, like not rely on 5 content creators to donate prizes out of their already poor wallets, Like,
Bro, are you telling me that you can't survive as a cEDH player hawking a Wheel of Fortune off of a tournament that happens once every 6 weeks?
3 months, yeah. It's just like, yeah.
No, yeah,
So,
honestly, the prize support was super cool. I loved it.
Yeah, it was the best. It was the most prize support anyone's ever had for an online tournament. It had the most players anybody's ever had for a cEDH tournament. Like, we broke a bunch of records in the community, and it was just like a fun time. We were just shooting the shit. Like, it was like, it felt like just like a Saturday, like a good time. And I would do it again. I would do it every Saturday if I didn't have commitments.
I will say it was weird, right? Because like, I see these people on the DDB all the time, and like I see people on Reddit post and shit, and like I hear about them. But it was so weird sitting in a Discord, listening to players that are better than me, place lower than me, and then shit on the guy who got first place because they're all friends. It was just such a fun experience to like to hear these names. I'm like, oh, like I've seen this person on, like I've seen twice or whatever on the DDB all the time, and then to hear them being like, you're fucking stupid, and then everyone laughs. Like it's cool. It was a cool community thing that I feel like if you're afraid to just jump out there, fuck it, just do it, right? Like it shit happens. Just
you
like
have
listen,
to,
talk,
because
joke.
all these people are just like goofy, cringe posters like everybody else, right? So like you're sitting in there, like even like Vasher's super active in our Discord, and like all the time, like they're like they just shit on each other. Like everybody shit talks each other all the time. Like I make fun of Vasher for playing politically, like because I'm like, you play more politically than I do, dude. And I take 30-minute turns. So what the hell? Like, how long are you know what I mean? Like, it's just like funny. Like, you just make friends, and like people that you never thought would be your friends, right? Like, just playing pods with like people that you've looked up to, and then like that's your opportunity to have a conversation, right? Like, I remember like the first time I played a pod with Callahan from the Mind Sculptors, and I was like, hey, I really enjoy your podcast. Here's a Thoraclaw on the stack. Like shit like that.
That was exactly my game with Callahan too.
Yeah, so like when you're playing with with people that you've known or experienced or whatever, it's like it's a fun time. And I felt like Chaos 4 was just like a good excuse to do it and like bring all our friends in one place. And then like after the tournament, I mean, how many people were hanging out in the Chaos chat, just like watching David stream and like having a good time and just like chilling and laughing and talking, you know what I mean? So like I think that there's like a lot of like fun to be had, and it creates that community, right? If you don't feel like you're a part of the community, it's events like that create it. So like get involved and have some fun. I don't know. I thought it was a wonderful time.
Yeah, I'd love to see it more often. I mean, whatever we can do to bring that shit to light.
I told Kian and Cass, I'm like, we got to win more cards off of our store credit so we can keep sponsoring tournaments for free.
Yeah, we put some. I mean, you guys put more in, but like, damn, there's a lot of prizes.
Yeah, we put in some really good shit. Yeah, so like, I was really happy with that. The cool thing is like anybody could do it. Chaos takes donations for any event. Like, if you have like what we do, like if we want to really delve deep into it, what we do is we just take the store credit we win off of like cEDH tournaments, we buy reserveless cards, and we donate it to Chaos. Like, it's that simple. Like,
we literally just saved for like the 1.5 months, I think.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Oh, I didn't do that at all.
Yeah, price.
I literally was like, "Hey, I bought a foil Verdant Catacombs. I don't need this shit. Here you go."
Yeah. Well,
and I was like, "I bought a foil Worldly Tutor. I don't need this shit."
There you go.
Yeah, well, that's
Guess what I did with the Demonic Tutor?
Well, that too, though. Like, if you're upgrading cards, right? Like, send your non-foils to Chaos, and like somebody will win them in a tournament, and like they'll be super grateful for it, because like even people like my friend Helenium won a pod. He won a $10 foil Thoracle. You know how hyped he was? He's like, I don't even own a foil Thoracle. I just never bought one, but now I got one for free. Like, it's exciting, you know? Even
yeah, that's
like,
cool shit. Honestly, it's even cooler if you donate a card and then win it.
That's
if you do that ever, please tell us. That's the funniest shit ever.
Yeah, like we were like really hoping that Kevin would show up and win that
and just win the
Wheel of Fortune. Now I have to pay
again.
Now I have to pay now I have to pay for insurance on the shipping. You punk.
Okay, honestly, it wasn't going to happen. I wasn't playing good enough that day. But if I had gotten the Wheel of Fortune and my record was 2 tournaments, 2 Wheel of Fortunes, that I would fucking collect Wheel of Fortune. I don't even like the card. I would fucking collect them and be like, look at how my wheels I got.
Bro, we would have hyped you up, dude. I would have hyped you up like so hard. Dude, I would have been, bro, Kevin won another wheel.
I was ready. Bro, okay, you missed my game 4. Our game 4 was fucking incredible. I was like, boom, slam abolisher. Okay, that didn't work. I was like, okay, we're going to go for Thoracle. Oh, you're gonna sack the Ranger Captain? I'm gonna fucking play this Tainted Pact. Oh, you got that counter. And I was like, I have a counterbalance on 1. You have no mana left. You've used all your free counter spells. GG. Oh, you're gonna besage you my counterbalance? Oh, you have a 1-mana counterspell now. Yeah, fucking great. Yeah, thank you. Goodbye. That was my last game, dude. I had everything, but I couldn't get there. So it's fun though.
Funny.
I really like Chaos. I would like to do it more.
Chaos was a fun time. I hope to host it again, but I know for sure, like from now on, we're all going to be playing in all the Chaos tournaments from now on, and like hyping it up every time.
100%. Shame
Actually,
to the Sad Naus crew that did not show up.
Here,
Fuck you,
wait.
Spencer.
You didn't even have a PC yet, I don't think. Here, this is what we'll do.
He
Yeah, he
did. He
did.
bought the PC
He
like
did.
a week beforehand.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Where
AJ,
is
you
that?
too. Get your ass in
Like,
here.
I'm in Chaos chat. I'm getting the date for the next one right now, because
I'm gonna also go into Chaos chat and message you.
don't message me. Just, right here. The 5th of November is going to be
Remember, the 5th of November.
yeah.
So
November
that
5th
is a Saturday, and that's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks from now, almost exactly.
yeah. So that's when the next one will be. So you can see us there if you want to participate in that one. We're gonna hype it up still. I don't know if we'll get as many signatures as we got on this one. I think the prize for it, first place is gonna get a original promo Enlightened Tutor. So the old art foil from 6th edition, but it's a promo, so it's like worth like $180. I think that's what the first place is getting. So like still good prize support and good tournament stuff. I know Chaos had some other cards that he was showing me for price. Don't do that. I can hear the rapper like right in my ear.
Hungry boy. Yeah, straight up. I actually don't give a shit about the prize support. I just want like big people to be there. I want to like hang out with these people. And frankly, like if I win anything, even if it's a $5 card, I'm giving that shit away. Stream fucking Sad Naus time.
Fucking yeah, having a good time with that. Yeah, speaking of Sad Naus stuff, I don't even know. Oh, we have to announce that tonight, Kian, that we're doing our giveaway tomorrow. And make sure that you announce that there's an MCL for the patrons. But yeah, we're giving an MCL away to our patrons tomorrow.
God damn, you didn't even tell me. Holy.
Yeah, be a patron right now. Start donating
Give us money.
Shit, okay, I got $1, bro.
No, you got to be five
Wait.
and up. 5 and up is the restriction for this giveaway.
Okay, hold on.
All right, so with that, I think that's all our Chaos stuff out of the way. So here, I'll take it. Don't worry about it. So with that, I think we're moving on to Feeding the Fish. All right, so for those of you that don't know, Feeding the Fish is a game we play on our podcast where there are 4 5-minute rounds. In this case, 4 5-minute rounds. In this case, only 3. For each round, each person on the podcast has 2 minutes to feed the fish or pick a topic and defend that topic on theme for each week. Then the fish, so the rest of us on the podcast, have 3 minutes collectively to either agree or disagree with the defending speaker. All time is uninterrupted. There are no rebuttals. So, for today's Feeding the Fish, we will be covering the most underrated tournament cards or most overrated cards. 3 minutes on the clock. Kevin, go.
I was fucking go first. Okay. Underrated is going to be harder for me. So overrated, I kind of touched on it. I think I'm going to broadly categorize these into like 2 mana value pieces, right? Like I think Ristic misses this because it's too good. I think Remora misses this because it's too good. But I think your 2 mana cards like Null Rod, oof. I love Dranith, but it's pushing it. I think it's a good card, but it's pushing it to be like you're slowing the game down so much that you're about to lose the game. No, fuck this. You know what? Rule of Law. Card sucks balls. Rule of Law is an amazing card that turns on a lot of strategies, and it is the cornerstone of white decks, and it's just too fucking slow for 75-minute rounds. You literally cannot resolve a Rule of Law and expect to win. I'm that's a hard opinion. I don't know if it's too spicy, but like I love Rule of Law. I was gonna bring Piggy, and I thought, you know what? It normally takes me 2 hours to convince Kian to fucking concede before committing suicide. I don't think I can do that in 75 minutes. So my answer is Rule of Law, with the exception of Archon, because Archon is fucking busted and is like the literal best Rule of Law ever printed. I think that one you can play. I think the other one's too slow for tournaments. Time and clock done.
All right, well, Adam, I'll let you handle this. this one, at least to start.
I don't think that rule of law is bad in tournaments. I think the people playing rule of law are. That's where I can basically leave that. No, I think that don't bring stacks to a tournament if you're not good at stacks. I think that should be the trope that's expressed here. I think that too many people play stacks because they like stacks and not because they're very good at stacks. And what ends up happening is you don't win games and you're like, stacks sucks. And it's like, no, stacks doesn't suck. You're just not the best pilot at it and you need to work at it. You need to learn what cards impact the game better. Look at Aggie on the screen. You need to look at what cards impact the game, know what times to play them, and know how to get to a win, because that's what Stack struggles with, is getting to a win. And you gotta find a way to get there. So I don't think that I think it's overrated for sure, but I don't think that it's unplayable. So yeah, I'll leave it there.
You know what? I'll agree, Kevin, with this point. Okay, I fucking hate rules law. Okay, don't bring that shit. Okay, with like 30-minute rounds, just go fast, go burr. If you lose, you lose. We don't want to be here stuck, like playing a 2-hour game that can't even happen because it's 75-minute rounds. But I think it's a little bit overrated, but I don't think it's underplayed, because I think the decks that can capitalize off it are like all good stacks decks and can find like win cons. Like let's say you're Timna Armex, for example, right? You play like the creature based stacks, so like Archon and what's the 2-mana one? The non-artifact Eidolon, yeah. And then like you can sack it, like you have the ability to play around your own rule law effects. And then yeah, that's all I got to add. I don't know. I was gonna go somewhere else, and I'm like, no, I'm not saying anymore.
Okay. Kian, why don't you go next?
Okay, so a new card.
The card you were thinking of was Ether Sworn Canonist.
There we go. Yep.
Yeah.
That guy. So the card that I think is underplayed, at least, well, it was played in this tournament, but I think could see more use, is Relic of Legends, especially in like turbo-based ROG decks. I feel like could utilize this cards, as well as like Thrasios decks and like some other like cheap commanders that you can use the card. Like Relic of Legends had a pretty powerful showing in that game, and in the games that we saw it, and enabled, for example, Joking and Vasher to basically like go off in that game, having to utilize ROG to tap for mana, and then playing their other commander to also tap for any color mana, which seems pretty powerful. I know it's a bit of a niche card, but I feel like as like we start looking, because it just came out in Dominaria, so as more people start looking at the card, I think it might see some play. But I'm still on like kind of on the opinion that it's a 3-mana rock, and like even some 2-mana rocks are kind of trash. Like you play Talismans because you know you're gonna get like the 2 colors, and the 2-mana investment isn't that bad because it's soul mana. So like Soul Ring, Ancient Tomb, City of Traders, yada yada. So yeah, that's all I got.
You can sold these nuts, my guy.
Is that a threat or a promise?
Shut the fuck up. Put your mute on. Adam, you want to take it?
Yeah, I mean, I like Relic of Legends. I think we like saw it on the battlefield during the tournament. We're like, this card fucking sucks, and then we saw it win the game twice. We're like, okay.
I told you guys. I think it is niche playability. I think Thrasios lists might like it because Thrasios kind of just fucking sits there and is a 1/3, right? I think ROG lists, maybe. It's like better than Honor Worn Shaku, so you know, it's probably going to get played in Godo. I don't know for sure, but maybe. I don't know. I think the card's okay. I think there are a couple lists. It's kind of like Wingcrafter. Like you've been fucking gassing up Wingcrafter after Vasher jerked it off for like a week. Card is really, really good in very specific decks. Like, I need to play a Timna, right? And I don't have red, so I can't run the disgusting red card that makes fucking flying whatevers. Loyal Apprentice. Right? So you play Wingcrafter, decent card, right? It's good in a specific list. And I same thing, Relic of Legends. I've talked with Kian on this. tapping for 2 mana off of Soul Ring plus whatever, not bad. And it's 2 colored mana too, which is like, okay. I'm with you, I think it's underplayed, but I think that was partially because most people just hadn't gotten a copy. Or hadn't tried it.
I mean, it was brand new at Chaos. Like, it is.
Yeah, like literally like that fucking day. Or like, it hadn't even been out legally for 24 hours.
Yeah, it was, it's definitely like it's definitely like a newer card that I don't think has been evaluated enough. But I think like what we've seen so far, like Relic is pretty good. Relic of Legends is something you shouldn't sleep on.
Yeah, in terms of correctness, I'll give you a 3 out of 5. Spiciness, 0 out of 5. So, I think I'm done. Adam,
I will
would you
also
like to
say,
post your...
please buy them. I spec'd on them. So, buy more.
Me too. Zero bias.
I don't have anything else to add to Relic of Legends. I can go into my cards if you guys want.
Ship it. Fish it up.
Okay. I only have one card. It's a card that I think is overrated. In tournament play, I do not think you should be playing Demonic Betrayal in any other deck besides Dimir or Esper. I don't think that it's that good in tournaments, especially when people are bringing a bunch of different piles to the like the meta. Like, it's not going to perform how well you think it's going to perform, especially in like the more mid-range and stack decks you see at these tournaments. As these tournaments progress, you're not going to get a pile in a graveyard good enough to win the game off of. So I just don't think people should be playing it as much as they do. You should be utilizing that slot for something better, like IMO. But that's my take on it. Mnemonic Betrayal, I think, is a little bit overrated. I think it's an underrated card generally. Like, more people should play it. I just don't think it's a tournament card. I think it's like a meta-specific card. Like in our meta, Mnemonic Betrayal is busted. Like, you let a Mnemonic Betrayal resolve, like, somebody's winning the game. But in like a tournament meta, like, you might get like half of a combo. Like a Thoracle might be in a bin, but like you're not going to get what you need all the time. So it's definitely something to consider.
Agreed.
So that's my opinion.
Okay, Kevin, I'm gonna start this. Okay, so
Center.
I think out of our group, especially with you, Kevin, and Spencer, especially, like, you guys know, I've been like really high on Meme Betrayal. Like you guys kept on trying to cut it. I'm like, no, you got to have this card, especially in our meta. Like Adam was saying, it's pretty good because we all play like decently top tier decks, all like 4-color pile or like turbo-ist strategies, and
everyone's on Bug or Grixis, something,
yes.
you know.
So like it's a great card, but I do agree with Adam that in a tournament play, like in a blind meta, it's not as powerful because you don't really know what you're gonna get. In the mid game, like, not enough permanents maybe in the bin, or you may not have the correct permanents in the bin or spells in the bin for you to gain the value off of it that you need. And it's just going to be a dead card in your hand. You're not going to want to cast it unless you're going to win the game. And that's why I feel like I agree with you, Adam, that it does fall short in tournament meta. But in like regular, like not, or like a meta that you know what's happening, I feel like this card is just gas.com.
Yeah,
Wait,
I mean, that's
.com.
pretty much where it's at. Shut
Shut up,
up,
bitch.
I say.com. Shit, put your mute on. You goddamn baby slapper. Yeah, I'm with you though. Meme Bet, it's a card that like punishes turbo decks, especially if you play like anything mid rangey that you know you can stop at least one turbo deck. You're like, oh man, that was unfortunate. My turn.
Boom!
Right?
Yeah.
So like I've played it before when I played Bug Tevish, Thrasios Tevish, and like, it was good. Like when it resolved, it did fucking work, right? But that's specifically because I know I'm going to sit somewhere between 2 and 3 turbo decks across from me. I think if you show up and you play fucking mono white stacks, some guy on Esper control, and then fucking blue farm, like you're not having it. That card is going to be like, oh man, I paid 6 mana for a demonic tutor. This feels bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm going to go further than Adam. I think people should stop playing it for the most part until we go back, because right now we're kind of cycling in metas, right? And when it goes back to YOLO turbo time, put it in. It's weird Yogg will. Until that happens again, bad card, not playable.
Yeah.
I'm good. That was a not so controversial fish, honestly.
No. I think Mnemonic Betrayal has been brought up in 2 fishes so far.
Probably. I mean, I don't know. It's a card we all want to play.
Yeah.
And that you do play.
I do play it. It's won me a lot of games. You're still muted, Adam.
Oh, he fucking stinky moded himself.
I said we both play it now in our Blue Farm lists.
Except I
Blue
actually
Farm.
own a copy.
Oh, I own one too. Let's fucking double dab him. Fuck you. Get endorphed.
Well, see, all I do is proxy because I'm a real CDH player. So,
Bro, aren't you like $10,000 deep into cards?
yeah,
You bought like a whole fucking entire 2.5 decks in like.
I bought like I
6
think
months.
I bought 4 decks total. I think I bought Jessica Ishai, I bought Godo, I bought Timna Armix, and I bought another one.
Onoda.
And I was like, and Heliod.
I
bought
can't
5
shame you.
decks. In 6 months, I bought 5 CDH decks.
I'm
Like, totally
flat the
paid
fuck out, haggling on a goddamn Lotus Petal right now. So like, I can't even shame you.
Yeah, I'm not buying a new deck for a while, probably. But all right. Well, that was feeding the fish. Kian, do you want to send us out today?
Sure. So again, we'd like to thank our high-tier patrons, Usable Objects, Senator Tom, Cold Ramen, and Cold Ramen, Doot, Domino, and we don't have Geo Justin. This is old. Not Geo Justin. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, guys. We
got
got Usable
fucking
Objects,
you guys,
Senator
your money
Tom,
was
Cold
wasted.
Robin, Doot, and Domino. Thank you guys for your support. Without your money, like, we can't do fun stuff. Stuff is in the works. I know we keep on saying this, but it's coming soon. So for those of you that haven't joined our Discord already, what are you waiting for? Get in there. We pride ourselves on being one of the more community-driven content groups and love the feedback we get from our Sad Naus family. You can talk to us about episodes, get deck building advice, or just chat about your day. We're also local to the Milwaukee metro area and have channels specifically to local meetup games and tournament locations and discussions. We'd love to have you. And finally, whether you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and drop us a review, or share us with your friends. It really helps us growing our channel and gives us the ability to work with new people and reach new audiences. With that, we'll end the episode, and see you guys next week.
See ya.
See ya.
Deuces.